What if I told you that the greatest dynasty of the 2000s was built on a foundation of mutual hatred? That two of basketball's most dominant forces spent 8 years simultaneously creating championship magic and plotting each other's destruction? That behind every championship celebration was a locker room Cold War that would make corporate boardrooms look friendly. This is the untold story of how Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant transformed the Lakers into both basketball royalty and a psychological case study. We'll explore the exact moments their partnership cracked, the hidden power struggles that defined their era, and how their toxic relationship actually made them unstoppable. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the Shaq and Kobe Lakers weren't just a basketball team. They were a masterclass in how greatness and dysfunction can coexist in the most explosive way possible. The Lakers dynasty began with a chess move disguised as desperation. Jerry West wasn't just building a team, he was orchestrating basketball's most dangerous experiment. Take the most physically dominant player on the planet, pair him with the most ambitious teenager in sports history, and see what happens. But here's what most people miss. This partnership was doomed from day one, and that's exactly what made it work. Shaq arrived in LA as basketball's ultimate force of nature. 7 feet 1 inch, 300 pounds of unstoppable power who could literally break backboards. He was supposed to be the franchise cornerstone, the undisputed alpha, the guy everyone would orbit around. Then along comes this 17-year-old kid who looks Shaq in the eye and essentially says, "I'm not here to be your sidekick." That first training camp introduction, "I'm Kobe Bryant, and nobody's going to punk me," wasn't teenage bravado. It was a declaration of war. Kobe's was basically telling the most dominant player in basketball that he had no intention of playing second fiddle to anyone, including him. Most organizations would have seen this as a red flag. Jerry West saw it as rocket fuel. He understood something that others didn't. Greatness often comes from tension, not harmony. The friction between Shaq and Kobe wasn't a bug in the system, it was a feature. The first few years were basically a psychological experiment disguised as basketball. You had Shaq, who expected respect based on his dominance, going up against Kobe, who believed respect had to be earned through individual excellence. Their contrasting approaches to basketball were like watching two different philosophies collide. Shaq operated on pure physical dominance. Why work harder when you're already unstoppable? Kobe operated on obsessive perfectionism. Why settle for dominance when you could achieve basketball enlightenment? The Utah airball game in 1997 perfectly encapsulates their dynamic. While everyone focuses on Kobe's 4 missed shots, the real story is Shaq's reaction. Instead of criticizing his teenage teammate for taking impossible shots in clutch moments, Shaq embraced him and essentially said, "One day, they'll fear you."
That's why I was the first one to come grab you and say, "Hey, I know everybody's laughing and giggling out, but one day people will fear you at the end of the game."
That moment reveals the beautiful contradiction of their relationship. They couldn't stand each other's approaches, but they recognized each other's greatness. Shaq saw Kobe's fearlessness and understood it was exactly what championship teams needed. Kobe saw Shaq's support and understood that raw talent without team success was meaningless. Their first real fight during the 1999 lockout wasn't about basketball, it was about respect and hierarchy. Shaq expected deference, Kobe demanded equality. Neither was willing to compromise, which created the perfect storm of competitive energy. Enter Phil Jackson, the only person crazy enough to think he could harness this dysfunction into championships. Jackson didn't try to make Shaq and Kobe friends, he made them need each other. The triangle offense was genius, not because it was complicated, but because it forced both superstars to succeed through interdependence. Shaq couldn't just demand the ball in the post and overpower everyone. He had to work within spacing and movement. Kobe couldn't just isolate and create his own shots. He had to trust the system and his teammates. But Jackson's masterstroke was psychological. He explicitly told Kobe this was Shaq's team, while simultaneously designing an offense that showcased both of their unique talents. He gave Shaq the title while giving Kobe the opportunity to prove he belonged in the conversation. The 2000 championship run was the perfect synthesis of their talents and tensions. Shaq dominated the finals with 38 points and 16 rebounds per game, but Kobe's clutch Game 4 overtime performance against Indiana showed he could carry the team when needed. Their championship celebration, Kobe jumping into Shaq's arms, wasn't just joy. It was the brief moment when their mutual respect overcame their mutual annoyance. Success should have brought them together, instead it amplified every existing tension. The 2001 to 2003 period was peak Lakers basketball and peak Shaq-Kobe warfare simultaneously. The fundamental issue was philosophical. Shaq believed championships should bring contentment, while Kobe believed championships should fuel hunger. Shaq would spend summers relaxing and partying. Kobe would spend summers in the gym getting stronger. This created a vicious cycle. Shaq's off-season habits meant he'd start each season out of shape, forcing Kobe to carry more offensive load early in the year. Kobe's increased usage made him more ball-dominant, which frustrated Shaq, who felt marginalized despite being the team's best player. The media warfare became its own entertainment. Shaq would subtly question Kobe's team-first mentality. Kobe would not so subtly question Shaq's work ethic. Each passive-aggressive comment was calculated to establish dominance in the narrative while maintaining plausible deniability. But here's the fascinating part. Their dysfunction made them better. Shaq played harder because he knew Kobe was watching and judging. Kobe played smarter because he knew he needed Shaq's dominance to win titles. Their mutual dislike created internal competition that elevated both of their games. The 2002 Kings series perfectly illustrates this. While everyone remembers the controversial officiating, the real story is how Shaq and Kobe's competitive hatred of each other pushed them to superhuman performances when elimination loomed. The 2003-04 season was supposed to be the Lakers' victory lap, adding Hall of Famers Gary Payton and Karl Malone to an already championship core. Instead, it became a masterclass in how external additions can expose internal fractures. Kobe's Colorado situation created the perfect storm of personal crisis and professional pressure, but rather than bringing the team together, it revealed how shallow their unity actually was. Shaq's "the full team is here" comment when Kobe missed training camp wasn't just about basketball, it was about power dynamics. The addition of Payton and Malone, both seeking championships, should have created veteran leadership. Instead, it created more ego conflicts. Everyone expected to be the guy in crucial moments, but the Lakers had built their success on a delicate balance between two superstars who already didn't trust each other. Kobe's performance during this period was actually remarkable. Facing potential jail time while playing basketball at an elite level requires incredible mental compartmentalization. But his legal situation gave Shaq ammunition in their ongoing power struggle. The Detroit Finals loss wasn't just about basketball. It was about the inevitable collapse of unsustainable tension. When systems are built on dysfunction, they eventually break down under the pressure of their own contradictions. The end came not with a bang, but with cold calculation. Kobe's "I ain't playing with that mothered Saturn again" wasn't emotional, it was strategic. He had decided that winning without Shaq would be more satisfying than winning with him. But here's what's often overlooked. Their breakup was inevitable because their partnership had served its purpose. They had proven they could win together, which gave both of them the confidence to believe they could win apart. Shaq being traded to Miami wasn't just about basketball fit, it was about narrative control. He wanted the chance to prove he could win without Kobe, just as Kobe wanted to prove he could win without Shaq. The psychological dynamics that made them great also made them incompatible long-term. Two alphas can coexist temporarily when there's a common goal, but eventually, one has to establish dominance. Neither Shaq nor Kobe was willing to permanently accept second position. Their later reconciliation during Kobe's final years wasn't about forgiveness. It was about perspective. Distance and time allowed them to appreciate what they accomplished together without the daily friction of competing for the same psychological space. The Shaq-Kobe Lakers achieved something unique in sports history. They created a championship dynasty powered by mutual animosity. Their success wasn't despite their dysfunction, it was because of it. Modern super teams try to manufacture chemistry through friendship and shared goals. The Lakers proved that championship chemistry can come from competitive hatred as long as both parties channel that energy toward winning. Their 3 championships represent more than basketball success. They're proof that greatness can emerge from the most unlikely psychological combinations. 2 players who genuinely disliked each other created some of basketball's most beautiful moments. The real legacy isn't the rings or the records, it's the demonstration that peak performance can come from peak tension, as long as both parties are committed to excellence over comfort. Their story remains relevant because it challenges our assumptions about teamwork and success. Sometimes the best partnerships aren't built on compatibility, they're built on mutual respect for each other's greatness, even when you can't stand each other personally. The Shaq-Kobe Lakers weren't just a basketball team, they were a psychological case study in how greatness can emerge from the most toxic environments. They proved that championships don't require friendship, just mutual commitment to winning at any cost. Their dynasty reminds us that the most compelling stories often come from the most complicated relationships. In a world of manufactured super teams and forced chemistry, the Lakers showed us that authentic tension can be more powerful than fake harmony. Your mission: think about the competitive relationships in your own life. Are there people who push you to be better precisely because they challenge you, even if you don't particularly like them? Sometimes our greatest growth comes from our most complicated partnerships. If this deep dive into basketball's most dysfunctional dynasty gave you new insights, smash that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the psychology of sports greatness. Drop a comment telling us which toxic sports partnership you'd like us to analyze next: the Durant-Westbrook Thunder, the Kobe-Powell Lakers, the Jordan-Pippen dynamic. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest breakdowns. And remember, sometimes the best teams aren't the happiest teams. They're the ones willing to channel their dysfunction into dominance. Thanks for diving deep with us. Until next time, keep questioning what makes greatness possible.